All right, it is Rivalry Week, Northwest Football Preview. It's my guys, Nick Aliotti, Nigel Burton with you. All right, I didn't know, coming off of the weekend, I knew we were going to do this show, guys. And, there's a level of excitement because we don't get to, see each other outside of doing this show sometimes. I know you, Nick and Nigel, sometimes will try to get on a golf course. And I'm still waiting for you to smash some ducks with Aliotti and see some of the pictures of that. But I got concerned because I watch Washington State, I watch Oregon State, and I go, how are we going to stay competitive in some of these games? Because at least on paper, boy, this looks like it'd be a little lopsided. But, Nick, this, man. You get to a rivalry week, and all of a sudden, like, some weird things potentially could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if there's a week where it could, this would be the week.
Absolutely. Rivalry games, you throw the record out the window. You really do. But if after watching both of these teams for 3 weeks, Oregon seems to be riding high, and Oregon State, in my opinion, has kind of lost their identity. That being said, they're not running the ball, and they're not playing great defense, and that was their calling card. So I think it's going to be a tough week for Oregon State. I know people listening to this are not going to be happy, but it seems like a kind of a lopsided deal. But you never know in rivalries.
Yeah, you just don't.
It's going to be an interesting week. Look, here's one thing: the quick kick is back, and I hate it. I mean, like I remember watching when I was coaching Stanford would do the quick kick, and that's when I knew like they were waving the white flag. So here's something. I got something for you, Yammer. How about this? The beauty of the quarter system is this: Oregon State added a safety transfer this past week, right? Kid out of Florida State. I know you have snapper issues. We all know. The world knows we have snapper issues. I think we all saw the viral video of me and Coach Bray. That said, you can literally get a guy off the street because school doesn't start for another week. Go find somebody who can snap a football until your guy comes back. I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding about this. I know it sounds crazy. As long as the guy is cleared to clearing, you can add a guy late so that they're not losing football games because they can't snap a ball to a punter or a kicker. Like, those are things that I would legitimately be looking at to help this football team. It's not going to help the run game. It's not going to help the fact that they really struggled against Texas Tech to defend the deep ball, which is going to be a big-time problem against Oregon. But again, I think there's some things that you can do to tighten some things up, and it might just start with putting out an ad. I don't know, but you can actually add a guy this late because of the quarter system.
All right, welcome back to Northwest Football Preview, along with Nick Aliotti and Nigel Burton. Mike Yam with you. Apple Cup, let's go. It's not at the end of the year. We were talking in our break about this. I still think it's weird just because of all the years that I was in the Pac-12 to talk about, Oregon and Oregon State and Washington State and UW at this point in the season is just odd. But this is what we get. A Washington State team that, Nigel, you've seen in person now a couple times, and explain to me, because it's one thing to lose a game. It's another thing to get dominated. But now it feels like we're starting from scratch here, especially at that quarterback spot. An opportunity for one of 3 players to earn this job and take the bull by the horns. How do you think it plays out?
Jimmy Rogers, the head coach at Washington State, said, it's going to be an open competition during practice. And I got to believe that, look, Jackson Potter struggled against Idaho. And maybe that was him. Maybe that was some play calling stuff. Looked pretty good against San Diego State, and then struggled mightily on the road against North Texas. Duggar, he's just kind of been, he's been out of sorts in every game that I've watched. Even going back to the Idaho game, when it seemed like, Jackson was really in a groove, they put him in, it just went sideways. They put him against North Texas, he fumbles. I gotta believe Zevi Eckhouse has a chance now to kind of take the reins and run with it. That's just my gut. Now, I'm not at practice every day. It'll be interesting to see because it was not really a close competition when you talk to the staff during fall camp and even last spring. But it'll be interesting. I think this one has probably a better chance to be one of those head-scratching, like, what just happened type of games. When you look at on paper, Washington looks better, all those different things. But it's in the Palouse. It's not in some neutral site. I doubt that anybody's going to be calling speed option into the boundary this year. So, I mean, I think the Cougs have a chance to make this thing more than interesting.
5 turnovers. Washington State had 5 turnovers. you're not going to beat anybody, and you're going to get your brains beat out when you have 5 turnovers. Now, I still think Washington State under Jimmy Rogers, I think he's a good coach. I think they're pretty sound. I like the way their defense plays. But that quarterback has got to protect the ball. So they're going to make a decision based on which quarterback not only gives us the best chance to win, but the guy that protects the ball, because it is a rivalry game. We do play decent enough defense, and that's going to be the guy that they go with. Who it is, I don't know, but I think I agree with Nigel. Zevi's probably the guy that they're going to go with. So, and playing in the Palouse, it's always tough playing the Palouse. So I think this will be a closer game than people expect because of I believe that Washington State is a sound football team, and they need the quarterback to protect the ball.
Yeah, and Yammer, I don't mean to belabor the point, but here's the biggest issue, I think, for both of these teams, Washington State and Oregon State. Neither one of them is designed to be the type of offense that can just throw the ball 50 times a game. That's just not how they are wired. And right now, neither one of them has run the ball for anything. I mean, I think Oregon State didn't even average a yard per carry.
8 yards rushing that game.
Yeah, I mean, even Wazoo on the road at North Texas, they averaged 2.3 yards per carry. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. And so if they can't establish a run game, it's kind of lights out. They have to be able to run the football to then be able to go off their play action game. The receiving core and the quarterback, they're just not built like going back to the Ryan Leaf days when they could just say, to heck with it, throw the ball 6 times a game, spread you out, have 5 wide and all that stuff. That's just not the way this team is built. So if they have a chance to beat Washington, they have to run the football.
So there are 136 right now in the country
Yes.
in rushing. Sorry, Nick, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you going to add something?
No, you didn't cut me off. I think Nigel's right. These two teams, that being Washington State and Oregon State, they need to shorten the game. That's their best recipe to win. They need to shorten the game, play slower. So therefore, they have to rush the ball. And neither one has been able to rush the ball. And I am a firm believer there's very few teams. If you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, your chances of winning, and particularly winning the national championship, get less and less.
I think my only pushback to what you guys are saying, I think the sentiment is 100% accurate. And Nick, you said this, hey, maybe this thing plays out closer than we think. I think the only way that happens if Zevi wins this job this week, he's your starting quarterback, there's some sort of spark. I would say Washington, like getting back to Nigel, what you were saying, like, hey, if it's Coach Leach or Ryan Leaf and you're dropping back, and we'll see if Zevi can spark this team's offense. Well, welcome back to Northwest Football Preview. A couple guys that know what these rivalry games are like. The Apple Cup, the game that used to be called the Civil War, but apparently is still called the Civil War up close to those campuses. They don't like it, so I didn't say it. I'm just saying what everyone else is saying. Nick, you coached in so many of these against Oregon State. Would love to know if I said, dip into the mental Rolodex. What's the one moment, the one story, the one exchange, the play? Is there something that maybe stands out the most?
There's one that stands out the most without any doubt. But the first, I must mention that the last 0-0 tie was between Oregon State and Oregon in 1983, and I was on the Oregon State staff. That'll never happen again. That being said, the most memorable moment was the 1994 season. We're playing in Corvallis, tough place to play. They're into it. Jerry Pettibone, and they're running this wishbone or whatever you want, the Pettibone bone, whatever you want to call it. And that's always a tough week to prepare for. And we have to win this game to go to the Rose Bowl. And I'll never forget, we win 17-13. We score late to win. And I'll never forget when that ball hit the dirt, hit the turf, and we're going to the Rose Bowl. What a wonderful, wonderful feeling that was. To beat your rival in a big game, to allow you to go to the Rose Bowl. That game stands out to me as much as any game in all the games I've ever coached.
I love it.
Kind of awesome. Hey, by the way, before Najee, I want to get your take on the Apple Cup. When it's 0-0, just knowing you, Coach, is there like a badge of honor that it's like Yo, they didn't score on us, so not our issue.
And I was on offense at the time, coaching running back. So I have nothing. I was on offense, and at Oregon State, 0-0. Never happened again, baby.
That's why Nick
green.
coaches defense.
I know. I know. Nige, you kind of come at this from a unique perspective because you used to rock the Washington uniform. You were also on the staff at Oregon State. So I feel like you could probably, straddle the fence to give me stories on both. But is there, as a player, Apple Cup, is there something that really resonates a ton for you?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's talking about this glorious feeling at the end of the game. I'll say I had a near-death experience. So my sophomore year, 1996, we go to the Palouse. Ryan Leaf, both teams really talented. We have a running back in Corey Dillon, who he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. He broke OJ's record, single game rushing record while he was at the Cincinnati Bengals. Were terrible. Anyway, Corey's running up and down the field. I mean, he's doing whatever he wants. We're up big. I mean, by this time, guys aren't even paying attention anymore. All of a sudden, Corey starts cramping because my man decided he was going to wear basically like a garbage bag sleeve to stay warm. Reggie Davis was our tight end. He caught on fire on the sideline. True story. We had like those jet propulsion heaters, right? His shoe catches on fire. So it was freezing cold, right? Corey starts cramping. Rashawn Sheehy's not available. Terry Holloman, my guy, goes in the running back. And Terry will tell you, Terry's a great player, but he ain't Corey Dillon. So Washington State starts coming back. Next thing you know, it comes down to a final play. And Ryan Leaf tries to throw the ball into the corner of the end zone. The ball gets caught, but it's out of bounds. And Huskies win. So everybody's jumping up and down. I see Nick Aliotti, who kind of falls down on his knees. So I run up to Ink and I give him a hug. I'm like, Ink, we did it. And then next thing I know, I feel like boom, and I fall over. And next thing you know, it's just bodies on bodies. And Ink and I are like chest to chest. And there's like, we're dying. We can't breathe because there's all these dudes on top of us because they've decided to make a dog pile. And I see the video later on of like my buddies Brendan Jones and Al Burleson jumping on like, hey. And I'm like, I'm going to kill you because I'm at the bottom of that thing and we couldn't breathe. And we're screaming at guys, get off, get off, get off. We're about to die. So anyway, again, great moment. Almost died, but it was a fantastic game.
But worth it for you because a W is a W.
I mean, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I think I have an idea of where you might go with your pick on that particular game. We're making the picks, or at least not we. Nick, you got some room to make up here.
God,
so,
awful.
Yes, we got our game picks. They're coming up next. All right, back here on Northwest Football Preview, you can see the standings. Not great for Coach Aliotti. 2-7, 7-2 for Nige. I think we might have to get to the point where we have Nigel not pick, or we have Nigel pick by the spread, and then Nick, maybe you just pick winners and losers, trying to make up some ground right now.
It's very, very hurtful.
There's still some time. There's still some time. Nick, we love you, man. We love you. All right, Oregon State and Oregon. It's a 34.5-point line. Duckies are the favorite. Nick, who's the pick?
I'm going to go with the Ducks at home, Autzen Stadium, rolling high. I'll go with the Ducks, and don't pick whoever I pick if you're a bettor. Go with the Ducks.
Hey, Coach, I'm betting on the Duckies too for really two reasons. One, I think they're not only are they playing the season with a chip on their shoulder, I think they're disappointed on how they finished that game against Northwestern.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take out a lot of that on Beavs, unfortunately. So I got Oregon too.
All right, UW is a favorite, 20.5-point favorite on the road against Washington State. Nige, who's the pick?
Well, I'm not really sure, but
Staying hydrated there.
just let me take a sip here. I'm gonna go with the Cougs.
Whoa.
Ow. The Dub's gonna win.
Okay. All right.
Gonna
The
win
20
the
20 and a half scares.
At the Palouse? Yeah, it's a 20 and a half. I think they're gonna find some groove. They'll keep it close. I think Washington wins going away, but 20 and a half is a big number. I don't think they cover it.
All right, Nick.
Wow. I'm going to go with the Huskies just so
Yeah.
I can catch up. I got to try to catch up.
The door's open for you, Nick.
Yeah.
Which we'll take.
Do it.
I got the Huskies.
Taking the dogs.
Can I pass this? Is there a way to pass this through like the deal over to?
Oh,
I just pass it.
no.
off.